This is part 2 of world history, and we were talking about Greece and the culture of Greece. And we got down to the Hellenistic art and science, and we're going to go over some of these scientists and some of the art and such of this period of time, because they had much progress in the fine arts, in science and math especially. Aristarchus of Samos was an astronomer, and way back then, we're talking about 300 BC, so he proposed that the earth revolves around the sun. And they didn't believe that before. They believed the sun revolved around the earth. And so he was one of those. And so the Euclid in Alexandria in 300 BC, he brought forth these theorems of plane geometry. So when you study your geometry or even algebra, they'll go back to Euclid and Euclid's theories, which are still used today. That was 300 BC he developed these. And then here we have a picture, and this is Euclid and Aristarchus and Archimedes here. This picture here in this library of them getting together. Science and math. Hipparchus was the greatest astronomical observer, and the basic principles of trigonometry came from him. So he was into astronomy and trigonometry, and the first catalog of heavenly bodies were calculated, and he calculated the exact length of a solar year within 6.5 minutes. Hipparchus. On to Archimedes. Again, Archimedes was in math, engineer, and physics. So here's Hipparchus, here's Archimedes. You know the story of Archimedes, that he was taking a bath, and all of a sudden when he got in, he realized that the water flowed out of the bathtub, and he said, "Eureka! Eureka!" He was talking about physics, wasn't he? Geography and the earth. Eratosthenes of Cyrene calculated the circumference of the earth with astounding accuracy. Eratosthenes of Cyrene during this time. Strabo was a geography and a historian. He had 17 volumes of geography, which he described all parts of the known world at the beginning of the Christian era. So here we have, he was into geography, and he was calculating the circumference of the earth way back then. Now we're going to talk about Koine Greek. Koine Greek is the common language Greek, and it was the most significant development of the Greek language all over the world. Koine Greek was used back then and spread everywhere so everyone could communicate, in the Greek Empire, Hellenistic Empire. The alphabet was invented way back when. So we think of the Semites, we think of the Hebrews. So they invented the alphabet, but it spread to the Greeks by the Phoenicians. Remember, the Phoenicians had their own type of alphabet that took from the Semites, took from the Hebrews. Hebrew spread it to the Phoenicians, and the Phoenicians to the Greeks. And the Greeks adopted it and added the vowels. So Greeks became the common language of the known world then. And it's not the classical Greek of poets and philosophers, but the everyday Greek. The Koine Greek language was from 300 BC until AD 400. And so that would be very significant in what is going to happen next when Jesus came to bring the gospel. When Jesus came and was born, died and rose again. And now we have the gospel. And the Old Testament was translated from Hebrew and Aramaic into Greek by the Jews of Alexandria. So into Greek, that should be a K. Most people understood Greek and spoke it. So now people could read the Bible. So the 1st century AD, the New Testament written in Koine Greek was amazing. and it enabled the masses to hear the saving gospel of Jesus Christ. Wherever Christians went and churches were established, they brought forth the Greek translations of the Bible. So we have not only that in Alexandria, the Jews translating the Hebrew scriptures, now we have a Bible, don't we? This is ekthus. We'll find that. That's a Greek sign of the first church. And basically, we'll talk about that when we talk about Rome. In fact, in Rome, when they were persecuted, they would have to hide underground in the catacombs. And if there was a sign of ekthus, that was a secret sign that meant that that person was a Christian. Maybe that person that died when they had their graves under there, that person was a Christian. They write an ekthus on their graves. Greek, the language of the New Testament. So the Greek alphabet was in 400 BC, the Greek alphabet before Alexander, and it was the model for most writing systems that were used in the modern world. So now we have that model, which our alphabet comes from. So the Eastern Greek, Cyrillic alphabet, was the Slavic. The languages of Russia and Bulgaria and the Serbian language, they all were based on that Eastern Greek. And then we have the Western Greek, which was Latin or Roman, a Roman alphabet, which we too are based on that alphabet of the Greek and Latin. Well, in the beginning, like the Hebrew, they read from right to left originally. But by the Golden Age, when we're talking about this Golden Age of 500 to 400 BC, the Golden Age of Greece, they decided they turned it to left to right, which we read our alphabet. We read our, when we read a book, we read it from left to right. The Koine Greek in 300 to 30 BC was a grammatical simplification of Standard Greek. So it was grammar was very simple compared in a very simple type of Greek. Koine Greek was the tongue of the Eastern Mediterranean. The modern Greek from Koine of Byzantine Empire during the Middle Ages. So when we got to the Byzantine Empire, yes, they spoke in that same Greek and could read the New Testament. So here we have the Greek alphabet, similar to ours, huh? And here we have one of the scrolls of the Bible that was translated into Greek. And here we have Greek writing on a shawl there. So that's it.